hi, ladies and gentlemen, is actually on the sofa with Rouge, but never mind. And we're on chairs, so it's a little different, but it's great to have you all here. Thank you very much for joining us, where lifestyle meets business. I'm joined by two inspiring entrepreneurs who've both made Gibraltar their home. Welcome to the two Mikes. Please give them a round of applause. So first, I'd like to introduce Mike Balfour, who's sitting here to my left. He's a powerhouse in the fitness world and founder of Fitness First. From a bankrupt squash club in Bournemouth to building the world's largest chain of health clubs, Mike's journey spans 550 clubs in 21 countries. He's an OBE recipient and a global wellness leader who now brings his entrepreneurial spirit to the Mediterranean. And joining him is Mike Nicholls, the man behind Chestertons Gibraltar, a chartered accountant with over 25 years in property and finance. Mike has helped countless investors relocate to Gibraltar. He runs multiple businesses and is the voice behind the popular bite-sized newsletter with now with nearly 5,000 subscribers, so that's quite a feat. And he's a West Ham season ticket holder, but we're not going to hold that against him, especially after last night. So good evening, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me. Let's start the conversation with Mike Nicholls. Your motto is Gibraltar is a great place to live and a great place to do business. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So that is my motto, and it is a great place to live, and it is a great place to do business. Why? I came over 23 years ago as a lifestyle decision. Wasn't tax related, wasn't career related. It was because my in-laws had moved to Takessa, and we kept coming over, and I met Greg Butcher, who then persuaded me to be finance director of Ocean Village. It was a 3-year contract, but within 2 years, there's me. I found myself in the Chief Minister's office of the day, talking planning issues, and then other than finance director roles, I was selling property, and you then realise you've got a small business environment, but you get to know everyone. You've got access to the very top. You can have 2, 3, 4 meetings in a day because it's so small. Everyone's so accessible, and then everyone's so friendly. So the professionals, your clients, become your friends, and it just becomes a community that you want to be part of from a lifestyle perspective and a business perspective. So I did go back after 3 years, and I'm still in Gibraltar.
So I want to ask you, did you have any preconceived ideas before coming to Gibraltar? And what on earth did your friends and family say when you said you were moving and relocating?
This was 2002. Nobody really knew much about Gibraltar. I didn't know it. I'd never been there. And so my preconceived ideas was, would I have to learn Spanish? Would I get sunburnt? Could I still watch West Ham? And I'm pleased to say I didn't have to learn Spanish. I tried and failed. I did get sunburnt, and it would be best if I didn't watch West Ham. So it's because the proximity is so good, as you all know, 2.5 hours and you're here. You can walk to the airport in Gibraltar. You probably know the baggage handler. You say hello when you come back to customs. It's an exceedingly friendly place, and it's pretty easy to nip back for, family or friends or football.
So they didn't think you were going back mad?
No, and to be honest, they're now jealous.
Absolutely. Mike, tell us, as an investor, as an entrepreneur, what was it that attracted you to come and live in Gibraltar?
Well, first and foremost, I think it was probably the weather. I think we underestimate the fact, we've got 300 days of sunshine, and that is very, very important to me. But I also met Greg Butcher on a plane coming into Gibraltar, and he was telling me about his dream he had for Ocean Village and development. And after a couple of gin and tonics, I said, well, I'll put a health club there. And I did. I became his first ever tenant. That was about 19 years ago. And after that, I just decided that Gibraltar lacks a whole lot of health clubs and fitness, and that was in my blood to do that. I built clubs all over the world. And so I started building clubs in Gibraltar. Now we've got about 5 clubs in Gibraltar. We've got about 5,000 members, which is not bad out of a population of 38,000. And I've now got spas and restaurants, a little hotel, aesthetics. I've just sort of built up a business there. So I found the whole environment an extremely business-orientated environment, one that's been very easy to do business in. It's a very flexible regime, and the weather's great. And yes, I've stayed there, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
I was going to say, as a jurisdiction, how does it compare to its rivals?
Well, I think it's the community. It's a very small community. Everybody gets to know each other. You know, Gibraltar's only about the size of a very modest town in the UK. I just do not think I would ever get to meet the sort of people that I meet in Gibraltar in any small town in the UK. So it's very nice, and it's also very important. It's very safe. I mean, you know, if you call an ambulance, which hopefully none of you are able to do, it's going to be there in 10 minutes. Yeah, and that's very important. And it's also, you know, it is a very safe place to walk around, for your family to walk around, for your children to walk around, etc., etc. And that's very, very important these days.
And can I answer that as well? Because compared to rivals, we're not an island. So when you're stuck in Malta, Jersey, Guernsey, and you're feeling marooned, we don't. You can wake up in the morning, turn left, and you go to the Algarve and have a holiday. Turn right, you could go to Seville, or well, it's north, but Seville or Malaga, Granada, and you can go skiing in the winter. You can 3 hours drive and you're skiing. So we've got access to Europe on our doorstep, and very easy access, and that's a hugely compelling advantage.
And if you're into sports, I think Gibraltar covers every single sport you could ever imagine existed, including pickleball.
Well, I think, yes, pickleball's, we've just launched a new development with pickleball in it. You can talk to me afterwards. But the point there is that what's amazing is that most of us, probably 90% of us, live in apartments. And we're 2.5 square miles. And you think, well, there can't be any sport, there can't be any pastime. We have everything. We have football, netball, volleyball, basketball, every club society you can think of. And even for your children, dance clubs, just small rugby, for under 7s, under 9s. There's so much going on, and as a parent, I've brought 2 children up there. As a parent, it's just a wonderful place for them to go. They're within 1.5 miles, because that's the limit, and there's just so much to do for children as well as the adults.
I was going to ask you that. Do you feel safe in Gibraltar bringing up a young family?
Well, so my daughter, who's now 22 at Bath, so she was born in Gibraltar. And what is beautiful compared, because I'm obviously from the UK, what is beautiful about Gibraltar, whether she's aged 10, 12 or 16, when she walks up Main Street that there'll be 10 sets of parents that we know who have spotted her walking along, and it's a safe environment, because everybody looks out for everybody else. It's a kind community. We've still got that, it's what the UK is losing or has lost. It's that community-driven concern for other people, for other families. So bringing up children there was wonderful.
Mike, you touched on the community aspect of Gibraltar. Have you felt welcomed by the community? I mean, you can both answer it.
Yes, I have. I think the community has welcomed us. I mean, an awful lot of the people there are new to Gibraltar as well. So it's not only the local people that welcomed us, but everybody there is seeking to engage with other people and so on. So it just makes it a very comfortable environment. So you can have as much socialization as you want, and you don't have to be out every night, but it is a really nice community to be part of.
Okay, what aspects of Gibraltar life do you enjoy the most? And do you have any anecdotes that exemplify your experiences in Gibraltar?
Well, one of the things I'm reminded of is, only the other day, it was on Sunday, I flew into Gibraltar, and you can be at home before the plane is taken off to go back to London. And that's the very fact that everything is in such close proximity is really a great way to live.
You haven't mentioned that you flew out with Harry Redknapp.
I did. I sat next to Harry Redknapp on the way out, and it was remarkable to be with something like that, because everybody knows him, everybody recognises him, and he's such a nice guy. He flew out. Yeah.
and play for West Ham.
We won't go there. Tell us something about Gibraltar that you didn't already know. Something that you've learned while you've been there.
Right. So what I now know that I didn't know was that there were 6 troops of monkeys up that rock, and there's now only 5 because they've got so many that one morning they injected one of the troops of about 35 and knocked them out, stuck them on a private jet, and they flew to Scotland where they woke up, and that's where they are now, wondering why it's so cold. And the remaining 5 troops of monkeys have flourished ever since. And that was, I've no idea where I got that story from, but it's true.
And you, Mike?
I mean, when I go to Gibraltar, I honestly don't think most people really knew particularly where Gibraltar even was. And so many people have come out here to visit me, be it on business or be whatever. And I have to say, I think every single person has been really quite amazed with what they've seen. And I think the problem with Gibraltar is it doesn't advertise itself as to how good it actually is a place.
So all your family and friends have come to visit?
Everyone.
Good. Tell me about establishing relationships both on a business and a personal level. How's that gone?
Well, I think from a business point of view, it's been really quite. I mean, with the previous speaker says if you come as a cat too, you've got to get permission to run a business. I actually found that to be quite easy, but I guess the businesses that I've created in Gibraltar are things that Gibraltar wanted: fitness, spas, restaurants, that sort of thing. So I've actually found it very easy. I found Gibraltar to very welcoming for the businesses that I created there.
And from my point of view, I still find Gibraltar is that classic meritocracy, where if you work hard and are successful, you're rewarded and applauded for working hard and being successful, and that is very welcome still. So you set up a business and it does well, and everyone's pleased for you. You're creating employment. People are pleased for you, and success breeds success. And everybody wants everybody else to flourish. The accountants, the lawyers, they obviously want businesses to flourish, but we all want businesses to flourish because it brings in new people. So this steady trail of new people coming in helps most businesses. So even though, I might have rivals in my sector, we all actually are batting for the same team. And there's a very much a feeling of we're part of Gibraltar PLC, and we are all seeking that same target of being a successful, kind community. And I think you could bring together those words of successful and kind.
So you feel rewarded that?
I feel rewarded. I've set up a business and it's been successful. 2 businesses, both being successful. But generally people are happy with that. The locals and the newcomers, and we welcome more of that.
How's the business? Sorry.
I think I'd just like to add to that. One statistic that I find always quite interesting in Gibraltar is that we actually have an unemployment rate, number of people, which is numbers 13, not 13%. 13 individuals in Gibraltar do not have a job.
Well, maybe you need 13 more employees. Who knows? Mike, tell me, Mike Nicholls, the business environment, tell me how the business environment and especially the property market has changed since you arrived in Gibraltar.
So my life started with Ocean Village, and that was the whole concept was relatively new for Gibraltar, because it was Northern Europeans coming to Gibraltar to maximise the light, maximise the glass, and maximise the space of the terrace. And locals thought we were absolutely bonkers because they've spent a few centuries minimising the light, minimising the glass, and minimising any access from the sun to come in because of the lack of aircon. So Ocean Village was a very new concept at the time, and it had its pools and its gardens. And then I think a lot of developers saw how successful it had been and how demand from outside now wants this modern style of property, and then others followed that. So we have a lot of new properties going up, sort of following the same model of amenities and views. And we have views to die for and amenities to die for. And then the other point worth making is we have a very vibrant off-plan market. So virtually all of our property developments will sell out off-plan before they're built, whether from investors or owner-occupiers. And that's quite unique for Gibraltar. And thus far in my 23 years, no one's ever lost any money on it, and everyone has made money on buying property off-plan. So there's tonight's investment tip, everyone.
Okay. Mike, what is it like running hospitality and wellness business in Gibraltar compared to other parts of the world? You own businesses in many places. So what's it like? What's the difference in Gib?
I think just because of the close proximity of everything, I have to say it's probably easier. You can get around all your businesses very easily walking. And I think that's very important. I think just the close proximity, because everywhere else I've had businesses I've had to fly to. So it's just kind of easier.
Okay. Now, this is for both of you. Has the lifestyle in Gibraltar influenced you personally and professionally?
But it certainly influenced me personally, because I think it's a very healthy environment, which I think is certainly very important to me. And as we all get older, we need to all exercise a lot more and live a healthy life. And Gibraltar it's just easier. Sometimes when I come back to the UK, I think, yeah, it's just difficult here. It's difficult getting around. It's difficult to do things. But in Gibraltar, it's just so much easier.
And also, it's the eating out culture. So first of all, you walk everywhere, which is what you're saying. But when I was in the UK, virtually every Saturday night was a dinner party. You go to friends or there. Whereas we don't really do that so much in Gibraltar. You eat out. There are so many restaurants. It's affordable. You can eat outside most of the time. And it's an eating out culture regularly. You'll always bump into friends, colleagues, clients, your regulator, your minister. You bump into these people. And as I say, the clients and friends sort of merge. And that's the lifestyle we have. It's a sort of it's a parish council environment on an international stage. Is how it feels.
Do you think Gibraltar is international?
Judging by what our chief ministers had to go through in the last few years, very much so.
Okay. What advice would you give somebody thinking of relocating to Gib? What is the main advice you would give them?
Well, other than coming to Chestertons?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I agree with Graham earlier. So planning is very, very wise, because tax gets complicated between the UK here, Spain and here. But I think that my advice would be aware you'll probably have to compromise somewhere on the property, because we don't have many houses. We don't have a great amount of space. So you're going to have to get used to living in an apartment, and you won't have vast grounds. So your first property choice will be a compromise, but it's not the house you're living in, it's the jurisdiction you're living in which makes it all worthwhile.
Okay, well, you'll be pleased to know I've got one more question for you. Can you say that Gibraltar is a contributing factor to your success? Both of you, please.
Me, absolutely 100%. I never, ever, ever envisaged setting up my own business. Never envisaged setting up an estate agent, because I'm an accountant. I've done both because I was inspired by Greg, by Gibraltar, by the environment. I'll never look back, and it was the best decision I made.
I think from a success point of view, I think it's been one of the greatest lifestyle decisions I've made. And the very fact that I'm able to work in Gibraltar, because I've given up the idea of retirement. I just don't think that is going to work for me ever. So I just now work in Gibraltar. I love living there. I love working there. And I can get back to the UK very often, as often as I want. But, hopefully with this new treatment coming, if I'm now thinking of mentioned it, it's going to make living, the lifestyle in Gibraltar just so much better.
Well, thank you both very much for being so honest. I'm conscious about the time. I just want to say that if that hasn't convinced you to come and visit Gibraltar at least, then I don't know what will. Thank you very much for listening.